Did you know that you could lose part of your paycheck, have your tax refund taken away, and your bank account cleaned out, all because you have a court judgment filed against you?
So joining us now is Our Lady of the Law, Kast, to explain how you can fight back. So explain this. How does it happen?
Good morning. Basically, when a creditor gets a judgment against you, they have a lot of power under the law to take your money, to pay the judgment, and satisfy the judgment. And the crazy thing is, judgments are good for 20 years. So as long as the creditor re-records every 7 years, they can look for your assets and look for your money for 20 years. And it's not just the judgment amount. Judgments accrue interest. So currently they're at a 4.75% interest rate. I've seen them as high as 12 in years past, but with the economy now, the statutes say it's a lot lower. But still, it accrues interest. So the more you don't pay, the more you're going to owe at the end. So they will garnish wages. They will take, levy on your bank accounts. They will levy on cars, all to collect these debts. And creditors are ruthless. They'll keep looking, keep hauling you in for depositions until you pay.
Well, what if we find ourselves in a position where we're out of a job, or we actually cannot pay that bill?
Right.
Then what?
Well, the old saying is you can't get blood from a turnip, and that's true. If you're a single mom with 3 kids, you have no income, or you're on limited income, you can, if you have had a household, you don't have another spouse to help you out, you can file what's called a head of household affidavit with the court to let the creditors know that you're head of household. But they'll continue over that 20-year period to look to see, like, are the kids out of the house now? Do you have a job? Did you get married and all of a sudden you make more than your spouse? And they will continue to try to collect that. You get a car paid off, they might think it's valuable, they'll come after it. So you have to, think, right now I may not be able to pay, but in the back of your mind you want to think the whole time, how can I pay it? And bankruptcy is an option. You can get rid of that judgment debt in full, in total, by satisfying it in bankruptcy.
So how can somebody avoid getting a judgment other than making sure that you can meet your financial obligations before you incur them?
Right. Well, it's scary too, because a lot of people think, the first thing to go these days is credit cards. Don't pay the credit cards. And we always tell our clients when they come into our office, feed your family, pay your mortgage, let the credit cards go if you can't afford it. Obviously, those creditors are going to get a judgment against you if you don't pay after a certain period of time. But there are payment options. I mean, you can get an attorney who can talk to them, tell them what your situation is, maybe work out a stipulation. Some creditors will take, $50 a month until, you can pay the judgment in full. Some will work out, some more, they'll take a consent final judgment where they won't execute and try to collect the judgment. As long as you're making a $50 a month payment. So you have the judgment, but they don't have all the rights to collect from you, like garnishing wages and levying on assets. So there are some things that you can do, and you really need an attorney to help you navigate the waters, because an attorney can talk to that creditor's attorney. I know I told you guys before, I was that creditor's attorney for many, many years, and that was my job, to garnish wages, and we would look for things like Harley Davidsons. People who own Harley Davidsons, if you repossess their Harley Davidsons on a Friday morning, they will come pay the judgment in full on Friday afternoon. So if you get assets paid off, you got to watch out, because they're coming for those, even if you forgot you had the judgment. It's been so long. And the judgments do stay on your credit for 20 years as long as they're there. So if you file a bankruptcy to discharge that debt in the bankruptcy, that's better for your credit than the judgment is.
What would you say is the most important thing that we should know when we have a judgment against us?
When you have a judgment against you, you have to comply with the creditor's attorney as long as you have that judgment in place. So when they ask you to do things like fill out a fact information sheet from the court, or to go to a deposition in aid of execution where you go down, you tell them what you have, what you don't have, even if you have nothing, even if you have no income, no assets, you have 5 kids in the house, you're getting unemployment and food stamps, go to those depositions, because you don't want to be brought into court by a sheriff for contempt of court for not complying with that stuff.
So you can be arrested? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you can't be arrested, but we don't have a debtor's prison in Florida, but you can be brought into court by a sheriff, taken from your job in the middle of the day for contempt of court charge, for writ of attachment is what they call it. And you will be forced to pay money to purge out for wasting the court's time and the sheriff's time for not just filling out these simple forms that they send you, every couple of years.
You've created a much bigger problem for yourself than by not showing up.
Exactly. So you want to, the sooner you can act, the better. The sooner you have money to pay things. And if you get a good tax return one year, I always told my clients when I was a creditor's attorney, you get a good tax return next year, call us. We might be willing to take that settlement as a settlement. You may not have to pay this judgment in full. You may only have to pay 50% of it, but you have to keep in contact with a creditor, get an attorney to handle this for you, to negotiate it for you, because the more you stay in contact with them, the less they come, looking for you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate Our Lady of the Law being here.
I can see why you changed from that to this.
Yeah, this is much
better.
It's much nicer to help the good people of Jacksonville.
All right, and thanks so much to Emery, Kast, and Walker for sponsoring this segment.
Remember, the biggest mistake that you can make when facing financial hardships is to do absolutely nothing. The legal team of Emery, Kast, and Walker understands what you're going through, and they are here to help good people in bad times. Just visit their website at www.jackslawyer.com or call them at 904-404-3394 for a free consultation to find solutions to all of your problems.